Okay, let's unpack this. Microfilm.
Hmm.
Now, I know what some people might be thinking. In a world of, smartphones and cloud storage,
Right.
the idea of tiny pictures on film rolls feels almost, well, quaint, doesn't it?
It really does, like something out of a spy movie from decades ago.
Exactly. You might be wondering, microfilm, is that our deep dive today? And honestly, I get it.
Yeah.
But trust me on this. What's happening with this seemingly old tech is actually, well, it's pretty relevant. It raises some big questions about preserving information long term.
You're absolutely right. It's fascinating because despite all the digital progress, microfilm just hangs on, especially for really, really long-term archives.
Federal records and things like that.
Exactly. And some recent news has really put its future under the spotlight. So that's what we're diving into.
Perfect. So for this deep dive, we've looked at Fujifilm's US website. They've been a huge player, specifically their microfilm info.
Okay.
And we've also got an announcement from a newer company, Micrographics data.
Right.
So our mission today is basically figure out where microfilm stands now, why it's still used, and what this big change in who's supplying it actually means for, keeping our history safe.
And it connects to that bigger picture, doesn't it? Digital is amazing for access, no question. But for centuries-long preservation, it has weaknesses.
How so?
Well, think about file formats becoming obsolete. You need constant migration.
Like needing an old computer to read an old file.
Exactly. Or the digital media itself degrading. And you always need specific hardware, specific software.
Yeah.
Will that even exist in 200 years?
Good point.
That's where microfilm, being tangible, just sitting there, readable with basically a lens and a light source, it offers a different kind of security, real long-term security.
Right. Okay, so let's talk Fujifilm then. Big history there. Their U.S. site mentions they started with microfilm way back in 1951.
Wow, 51. That's some serious history. A long-standing reputation for quality, I imagine.
Definitely. And they offered a whole suite of products. Camera films, right? Source document microfilms, they call them.
For those specialized cameras.
Yeah, the planetary and rotary ones, the kind of high-precision gear that archives have used for ages to create the master copies.
These are the workhorses, yeah. Capturing documents onto film really accurately, that's the foundation.
Precisely. Then Fujifilm also had archive media, some for their own AR-1000 system apparently, but also stuff compatible with LED writers.
Okay, so different ways to create the film.
And duplicating films, too, for making copies, preserving the original master.
Makes sense. Access copies versus preservation copies.
And importantly, they provided technical support for all this stuff. That shows a real commitment, doesn't it? Supporting the whole ecosystem.
Oh, absolutely vital. Institutions invest heavily in these systems that support that expertise. It's crucial for keeping things running.
Which makes the next bit of info kind of huge. It's almost buried on their contact page.
Oh.
Fujifilm Corporation, the parent company in Tokyo, Japan, they're taking their final orders for microfilm products on December 26th, 2025, Japan time.
Wow. Okay, so that's a definitive end date.
Seems like it. They just say contact your dealers for details. So, yeah, a really major player is bowing out.
That leaves a pretty big hole, doesn't it? For all those archives, libraries, records managers. If Fujifilm's stepping back, where do they go? Especially since, as Fujifilm themselves say, their film was used for both long-term keeping and scanning into digital later.
Exactly. It served both purposes. The ultimate backup, but also a route to digital access if needed.
That dual role is key, I think. That's part of why it persists. Physical stability plus potential digital convenience.
Right. Okay, so that brings us to Micrographics data. Their announcement seems timed perfectly, almost. They're very direct. They're basically saying, hey, Fujifilm's leaving. Another independent brand, Imagelink, has also apparently stopped making some key films. We're here to fill that gap.
So they're explicitly targeting that supply problem.
Yeah.
Acknowledging the challenge archives are facing.
Yeah, they seem to get that this is a critical issue for places needing long-term preservation, and they're positioning themselves as the new reliable source, not just for film, but the processing chemicals too.
That's smart. You need both.
And they detail their products. They've got 16mm and 35mm silver halide film, camera ready.
Standard formats.
Yeah, different lengths, different spool types, so it should work with existing equipment, which is crucial.
Compatibility is everything there.
And here's a key bit. They state their film is rated LE500.
Ah, LE500. That's the magic number in archiving.
Explain that a bit. LE.
Life expectancy. LE500 means the film, under proper storage conditions, Cool, dark, stable humidity is certified to last for at least 500 years.
500 years. Okay, that's serious long-term thinking.
It absolutely is. It meets really strict standards for image stability, physical integrity over centuries.
Yeah.
That silver halide emulsion technology is just incredibly stable and well understood.
Gotcha. And the chemistry, they mentioned that too.
Right. You need the developer and fixer to process the film.
They have an MD18C developer says it gives clean, sharp images, and an MF18C fixer, which they say ensures the image permanence.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Fixing is what makes the image stable and light resistant.
And they stress that these are designed as drop-in replacements for the Fujifilm and Imagelink chemicals.
Oh, that's huge.
Why so significant?
Because archives have established workflows, trained staff, specific processing machines calibrated for certain chemistries. If you can just swap in a new chemical without changing everything else, that saves enormous time, money, and potential disruption. It lowers the barrier to switching suppliers significantly.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Seamless transition is the goal.
Definitely.
And it really feels like Micrographics data knows exactly who they're talking to. They explicitly list their target audience.
Yeah.
Government archives, historical societies, records departments, scanning bureaus.
The core users, the ones who rely on this stuff.
Right. And they list their advantages, too. Reliable manufacturing.
Important for consistency.
Long shelf life for the unexposed film.
Good for managing inventory.
High-resolution output. Capturing fine details. Fast order fulfillment.
Critical. You can't run out of essential supplies.
Total compatibility with legacy equipment. There's that theme again. Fresh stock, guaranteed. Lab testing for archival quality.
Verifying the LE rating and other specs.
And, maybe most importantly, they say the company is built and run by people with micrographics experience.
That builds trust, doesn't it? It suggests they understand the nuances, the practical challenges. They're not just some generic chemical company jumping in. They likely speak the language of archivists.
It feels like it adds a layer of credibility. And they are not shy about microfilm's importance. They call it a gold standard for long-term document preservation, period.
Well, from a purely archival perspective, for that multi-century timescale, there's a strong argument for that. It's proven, requires no power to read in a basic sense, and isn't dependent on future tech compatibility. It's resilient.
So they're really planting their flag as the future of this specific archival niche.
It seems that way. And it's interesting, though, while they're focused on this microfilm gap right now, their website shows they do other things too.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Book scanners, document scanners, film scanners, digital library systems, museum conservation supplies, even equipment to write digital data onto microfilm.
Ah, so digital preservation onto film.
Yeah, and newspaper digitization services. So they're really involved in the whole life cycle of document management, digital and analog.
That probably gives them a good perspective on how microfilm fits into the bigger picture, right? It's not just about film, it's about how film works alongside digital.
Exactly. It's often not an either. It's about using the right tool for the right job, the right time scale, digital for access, maybe microfilm for ultimate long-term backup.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what we're seeing is a major shift. Fujifilm, a cornerstone of the microfilm world for, 70-plus years,
Long run.
is exiting the stage for microfilm production by the end of 2025.
Leaving big shoes to fill.
And this company, Micrographics Data, is consciously, strategically stepping up to fill that void, offering compatible film and chemistry specifically for the archival community.
Positioning themselves as the solution to keep those legacy systems going.
And the whole situation really just highlights that, even in 2024, microfilm isn't dead. It's still playing this vital, if niche, role in long-term preservation.
Absolutely. For listeners, even if you never handle microfilm, it's a reminder about the real challenges of preserving information across generations. It takes planning, specific technologies, and dedicated effort. It's not automatic, especially in our digital world.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Given how fast digital tech changes, what other old technologies might still be quietly essential, maybe for reliability or security or just sheer long-term stability? What lessons can we learn from something as seemingly simple as microfilm sticking around for so long?
That's a great question to ponder. What other analog backups might we need in ways we don't even realize yet?